In this video, we're going to use our multimeter to measure current. Measuring small amounts of current, you leave your positive probe still in this terminal. If you measure more than a few hundred milliamps in your multi-purpose socket, you're probably going to damage your multimeter. So measuring more than a few hundred milliamps of current, you want to move your positive probe from your multi-use terminal to your current reading terminal. For now, we're going to just measure a small amount of current. Your multimeter needs to be hooked up a little bit differently to measure current. If you had a resistor in circuit, to measure the voltage, you would apply your multimeter here, and that will give you a voltage reading. Unfortunately, that does not work for measuring current. To measure the current, you've got to make your multimeter part of the circuit. The current must flow through the multimeter. Here, if we measure the voltage on this power rail, we'll see we've got 5 volts. Here we can see the circuit. Positive, resistor, LED, back to ground. That circuit looks like this. Positive, resistor, LED, ground. I'm going to break this circuit and put the multimeter there so we can see how much current is going through this circuit. So here we have our multimeter hooked up in circuit. The power is going through the multimeter, and we can see we're drawing about 9 milliamps. That's pretty good. I expect there to be about 10 milliamps going through this circuit. So here I've got an arrangement of resistors. Ohm's law states that as the resistance goes down, the current goes up. Let's have a look and see how much current will flow through each of these resistors. Here I've got power going to each resistor, and if I clip this probe to each of this side of the leg, the circuit will be completed through the multimeter to this parrot clip and back to ground. So let's have a look at the first one. 41 milliamps, 15 milliamps, 5 milliamps, 0.4 of a milliamp, and really small. Let's go down another scale. 9 microamps. And it just so happens that we've got a 120 ohm resistor, a 330 ohm resistor, a 1 kilo ohm resistor, a 10 kilo ohm resistor, and a 500 kilo ohm resistor. And it makes sense. We have the most amount of current to the least amount of current. So this resistor is a 1 ohm 5 watt resistor. Being such a low valued resistor, a lot of current is going to pass. Certainly more than my multi-use connector is going to allow me. So I'm going to have to move my positive probe to this connector. This connector will measure more than half an amp. I've got my multimeter set to the 10 amp range. Let's see what happens when I turn the power supply on. And you can see that I'm measuring about 4 and a bit amps. Be careful of this component under these circumstances because it's going to get very hot. So there it is. This is a good introduction to measuring current.